Hello, everybody. I am Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show, your new favorite pop culture YouTube channel where we talk about movies, TV, music, and more. As always, this is a spoiler show, so you have been warned. On today's episode, we're going to have probably a pretty tight, quick conversation about the new Disney animated film Encanto.
Even in our darkest moments, there's light where you least expect it.
So this came out around Thanksgiving, and then they kind of rushed it to Disney Plus for for Christmas, and so we watched it there. Do you have any initial thoughts?
As I was watching it, I was really, really enjoying it. And then after I was done, it faded away like cotton candy in the palms of a raccoon in a puddle. And it really just didn't stick around. I liked it and I had a nice time, but it doesn't have a lot of staying power for me.
I think it's one of the ones that I think there's more there that, like, I think there's stuff to mine on repeat.
Sure, that could also be. I only watched it once.
There were things that I wasn't understanding. And at first I was just assuming that was me, but I do think the movie itself is a little bit mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, it's about a family unit. There's the matriarch Abuela,
Mm-hmm.
and she was fleeing persecution with her husband.
And like their whole town.
The town, yes.
Yeah. Or like at least a large group of people.
Mm-hmm. And it was very sort of like colonialism, refugee, like immigration, all that stuff.
Like we didn't see the ethnicity of the people on the horses, but you gotta assume they were white.
Yeah, you got the sense. And then she, like, where did the candle come from?
So when her husband got basically killed,
He like went back, yeah,
to try to stop the guys,
Mm-hmm.
the men on horses, so that everybody else could get away. Her like grief created the candle,
And it basically created this
and a mountain range to cut them off from.
This like house that is magic, and the family, therefore thrived. And we have Mirabelle is kind of our entry point, our hero, our leader. She's the first child who did not get a magic power.
Yeah.
They each have magic powers.
They did keep saying when they came of age, though, and all of those kids look like they were 10.
Yeah.
What age are we coming up here?
I just kind of assumed the whole time that either she was going to be a late bloomer, she was going to get a power later, or she had one and they hadn't figured out what it was yet.
Well, it is kind of the latter. It's kind of the second one.
Well, she didn't.
Well, but that is her power.
Sure,
Yeah.
but she doesn't have a power.
Yeah.
And I kind of, at first I felt betrayed by that. And so I guess I had the opposite, where I was like, it did stick with me a little bit more, where I was like, that's weird. And I was like, actually, I find that interesting.
Yeah.
That not everybody is going to have what their family expects of them to have.
I was looking at it more as sort of like she's an empath, and so it's not like a physical power where she can like do something. But she's
I understood she was
listen.
like a glue that holds the family together. But when this movie ends, she was not given any magic.
Correct.
And so initially I felt kind of betrayed by that, but then I ended up really liking it. And I think that the handful of girls, so Luisa and Isabel, I think stand out.
They were hers. They were Mirabelle's sisters.
Yeah, stand out a lot. I really liked Luisa. I liked her musical number.
That was the first time I started crying.
Did you?
I started crying like 5 times.
Did you?
Yes.
Of course, I liked Isabel because she was beautiful.
Isabella.
Beautiful.
All the flowers and stuff.
Well, and just her animation, the hair, the purple, all of
When
that.
she makes that cactus, I like shit myself laughing because she's just like, oh. She's just like a cactus pops up in all the roses, and she was just like, oh.
But I like that. I like that notion that she didn't even know she could do this thing because she was too busy trying to do what she thought, what the family expected of her, and furthermore, what she thought the family expected of her. And also her fiance, well.
Yeah.
She doesn't end up.
He was really handsomely animated as well. Here's the thing for me about this movie, and it kind of annoys me because I don't like the notion that it puts out Abuela sucks. And this is the second movie where Abuela sucks because Abuela sucks in Coco too. And I'm just sort of like,
but I mean, I think
does she have to?
I think it's slightly more nuanced than that. I think
course,
it's the
yes.
stuff that will resonate more over time and over repeat viewings. And I think a lot of people are going to write this movie off because it doesn't completely resonate immediately.
Sure.
And I think that especially, and I don't think the music is really Lin-Manuel's best.
Super catchy, but it's not.
And we might be overworking him.
Yes. Okay. So yes, it's not his best efforts, but it is so clearly Lin-Manuel Miranda music that it's like you kind of can't help but like bap your foot to it and stuff. But yeah, I'm with you. I didn't think any of the songs were like exceptional. I think We Don't Talk About Bruno was funny, but like none of them were like amazing, and there wasn't like the one big song because Luisa and Isabella's songs were both just like two sides of the same coin, and they didn't really do anything different or special. So
it also wasn't immediate. And again, I was a little bit like, meh. It wasn't immediately clear to me that the room that they were in each other's rooms and the rooms were like pocket dimensions. Like I was like, where the fuck is this treehouse? It took me a second to figure out what was going on. I really liked that though. I liked the different powers. And in that regard, I mean, to say the thing that we frequently say, I almost wish that this was a show where we were spending more time, because I feel like by the time the movie ended, I only then sort of had come around to what this was, what it was about, and all of the potential. And some of the family members are not necessarily in a bad way, but they are sort of shortchanged.
Yeah.
They're sort of like,
because I could have done with way more of Camillo,
the shapeshifter,
who is voiced by Renzi Feliz, who I love. He was on that Hulu show Runaways that I liked so much.
Dolores was really good.
Dolores was really fun and cute. And then the was it Felix, the youngest boy, the one that was it was Antonio that was having his coming of age ceremony. He got the toxic animals. He was so cute. Oh my God, so cute. I loved that, especially when they're in somewhere. They're in Bruno's thing, and he's got the like tiger or whatever, and the tiger's like trying to eat the mice.
The mice?
He goes, don't eat that, and he's just like, yeah, I mean, super funny, super cute. But you're right. I wish that there was like more of that. Plus, we had two different men, regular men, who had married the sisters into this family. And I feel like I didn't get to, and one of them was voiced by Wilmer Valderrama, and I was just like, I didn't get to know any of
But that's
these.
sort of what I meant is it's like, I only barely grasped it by the end.
Yeah.
And I was sort of like, oh, it's done. Like, so in a weird way, I kind of wanted more. I thought her mother was so beautiful.
Amazing animation. That is the thing I'll give this, is like the spectrum of animations and the spectrum of just like different type of Spanish people or
and also
Hispanic
just the
people.
spectrum of
Oh
color.
my God, no, amazing. It was so good because the one, Peppa, who was married to the black guy, and then their three kids, I mean, all of it was really good. All of that was really good. That like the representation of it, and again, the colors, all of that, it was amazing. It just like, the story was just a little too flat for me.
I wonder, because they made a point that it was Colombia, but it was almost like they either needed to make it more Colombia or not at all. Like it needed
Just
to be
like
like
a fake
Frozen, where
place.
it's just sort of like South America.
Sure.
And I felt like they sort of split the difference in a way that I'm curious if because I admittedly don't know a lot about South America, and it dawned on me, and that kind of bothered me. I was like, oh God.
Well, it's like, I mean, because Coco is like very deliberately Mexico, right? And so that's it. I agree.
I'm aware that the Latin American cultures and countries are very different, and I do not have a knowledge of that. Like, I can't identify them, so I'm curious what Colombians would think about this versus,
interesting.
You know, do they feel represented by this, or does it feel like mouth service?
Interesting. Okay, yes, I agree.
So, I like I said, that's ultimately why I wanted to talk about it, is because I think it's a little bit sort of going under the rug in a way that, you know, and it's not quite dynamic the way that like Moana was sort of like my life will never be the same.
Or even again, like I said, like something that is a lot more of this is like direct cousin Coco, which for like maybe it's the Pixar of that, but like that Coco resonated with me in a way that like I liked this and I liked watching it, and I know a lot of these actors, and so that was fun. But at the same time, I was just sort of like, it's not doing the same.
Ultimately, I think it is better than it's what I perceive as its reputation. Having said that, though, I do not think it is a masterwork.
No.
So it's like that's sort of the energy that I wanted to bring to the conversation. Is it's better than I think people are giving it credit for. However, it is slightly me. I am excited to have it. I hope it finds an audience, and I'm excited to one day maybe go back to the parks and see
if they do something for it.
Yeah, see what happens. See if there's going to be like a TV show or something. I don't know. I found it interesting, and I found it very ambitious and very heavy.
Yeah, certainly intriguing
in
for
a way,
for a future thing. I did want to, before we tap out of this, say that Stephanie Beatrice as Mirabelle did great work. Her voice is so bonkers, the things she can do with it, because she's Rosa on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and she has like a deep husky voice on that. And then I can never get enough of John Leguizamo, and so having him in this movie as Uncle Bruno, I was just delighted every time he spoke. I love John Leguizamo all the time, and this was no different. I thought it was great.
Yeah, so that's my for the moment, my after one viewing 2 cents on Encanto, which means enchanted.
Yes, it does. All right, well, you can watch Encanto in the theaters if you would like to brave them, or on HBO Max, Disney Plus. And then, let us know what you think. You can follow us on Twitter at soimwatching, or Instagram at soimwatchingtheshow. We also have a website, soimwatching.com, which links out to everything. And other than that, just like and subscribe and donate money if your heart desires. Bye.